What is good, YouTube? We are recording March 11th, Wednesday's recap. Um, it's gonna be real short, real sweet. Um, so this morning we had CPI. I think I tried to take CPI, pass some evals. It did not work. Failed to close, even though it was in profit. So I lost a few evals off of that. Not tripping though. Coming into today, I feel like there was a lot of opportunities in the market. After CPI, I wasn't looking at the market, but there was opportunity for a 1 minute inversion, which was this 1 minute inverse off of like 2 minutes after that CPI candle. I really like this move. Potentially would have taken it if I was looking at market, but it was pre-market. I'm not. Once CPI was done, wasn't looking at the charts till market open. But we have this super clean move off this 1 minute inverse, or you could have potentially taken this 1 minute inverse right here to the upside for longs. And off this CPI data high, we did end up sweeping out our London. So our next draw to the upside was Asia, and then we still have Asia low but low us, and then we have I think we took out New York. We took out a New York PM, and then I think we also had a 4 hour bullish gap that we are and we just now tagged into that 4 hour bullish gap. So coming in a market open, I didn't really have any bias, but I did potentially want to see that 4 hour gap get tagged due to the fact that it's been on the chart for about 2 or 3 days now. But we come into the open and we failed to take out our Asia high at around 842. So I am just waiting for a classic continuation long internal to external type of play. And there was obviously we see this opportunity right here. And we had this first presented 15-minute gap that was formed. But the reason I didn't take this trade was so look, we failed to take out this Asia high right here, and obviously we see that we pulled back into this 15 gap, and we have this 1 minute bearish gap right here. But the reason I didn't take this play was because I just didn't like the size of this 1 minute gap. Mechanically, I could have taken it and it would have been an A plus trade. If you take this inversion, you get an optimal entry and you're just taking it to Asia highs, or I guess you could target this high right here, or you could target Asia. 9 points it doesn't mean much. I mean, the draw is Asia, so you should be targeting Asia, and you have your stop below the swing low. Yeah, I'd have it below the swing low. You could potentially put it below the bottom of the 15-minute gap, but I would have had mine below the swing low. But the reason I didn't like it, it was just I didn't like the gap. The gap was too small. Pause. That was the main reason. And before that, we ended up squeezing a 5-minute gap. Where is it? There's some 5-minute gaps in between here. If we look at it on here, we could see it. Where am I tripping? Okay, that's Tuesday. Okay, yeah, it's right here. We squeezed some 5-minute, 15-minute gaps on the way down. So I just didn't really like that play. But I think it was obvious to take it to our draws that we have up here at Asia. But I was waiting. I waited. I didn't really like how price was moving. Obviously, this was a good play, but I just didn't really like how price was moving. I believe these two candles right here were Trump tweets that really pushed market up. So I was trying to be hands off and just be really patient with what I was looking at. But we do have this 1 minute bullish gap right here that I did end up taking a play off of. And once again, I would just say this is a super mechanical trade. Swept the high 1 minute bullish inverse, but we would be shorting into a 15-minute bullish gap that just held CE perfectly. And we came in showing bullish order flow. So I would say it's super mechanical. We do have draws to the down. We did have draws to the downside, which would have been our New York PM. Was it New York? It was our New York AM low, actually. It would have been this low. Um, we that's the one that we took out. So we did have draws to both sides of the market, but once again, we would have been shorting into this 15-minute gap. I believe there was a 15-minute breakaway gap. If we look at it here, we have this tiny 15-minute breakaway gap that we can see right here. So yeah, you are shorting into a lot of bullish gaps, but it was mechanical. I woke up, I was tired. I didn't really want to force nothing, but I did want to take a stab at a play. And so I took this 1 minute bullish inverse. And once we flip this gap, we also see that we are starting to build LR, and you really don't want to see this many retest of a gap. If this gap was to hold, ideally I would want to see it hold once and either sweep out these highs and go higher, or since due to the fact that it didn't hold, once again you want to see a tap in, potentially a sweep of these two stacked highs, and then a sweep and then an inverse, which is essentially sort of what we got. And then we created this 1 minute bullish gap that it now signified to me, okay, price is definitely can go lower, right? And so I went break even. I took this bid. I did not wait for this candle to inverse. If I was to wait for this candle to inverse, I would have gotten a terrible entry. And I thought we were gonna inverse off of this candle, but I didn't want to inverse. I didn't want to front run off this candle due to the fact that once again we are just failing to break through this 1 minute gap. And if I was to inverse, or if I was to front run this 1 minute gap right here, what would have happened is, or obviously the play worked with hindsight, but potentially you could see a bounce or a rejection off this sweep, and then we could potentially go higher. So I didn't want to front run off of this candle, but once I saw that we broke below this gap, I knew it was kind of bound for shorts, and so I got in at 25.54. Potentially could have got a better entry. Once again, mechanical. And I was targeting, what was I targeting? I wasn't really targeting much, to be honest. Potentially the New York AM low that we hit later on at 10:49, but I wasn't even on the chart by then. Or potentially these lows right here. I'm sure there was a 15-minute low, but that's what I would have been targeting. I did end up getting break even on it. No, I didn't. I lied. I was moving my stop down, or my take profit down. So I got about a band in profit on this play. We end up coming back in to tap this 1 minute bullet bearish gap, and we get a better reaction. Come sweep out these lows that we just put in, and then we retrace back to the upside. And then if you're still on the charts at 10 a.m. or past 10 a.m., you do get this nice play where actually I don't know if there's any play right here. There is this 1 minute gap you could have potentially taken. There is this nice 1 minute bullish gap you could potentially take to the downside. Is there another one? Probably. Okay, this is actually a BPR gap. Right here. This would have been a BPR gap right here, and then you could have just taken this play to the downside. And if you're taking it off of this inverse, actually, and you keep your stops above 40 points, so that's not too bad. And then you are just once again targeting these New York AM lows for a full delivery. But I was already off the charts by then, so I didn't take that play. But yeah, I caught these nice shorts, and yeah, I'll be on tomorrow. I think that's it.